Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Visicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. This is part 2 of our conversation with America's guest, Jeff Metzgar. Jeff is a friend of mine. I've caddied for him in the past at Wellesley Country Club. He has been on this odyssey, and he's this close to the finish line. He, for 26 years, has been on a mission to play the top 100 courses in America, and he's on 99. So he's almost about to cross the finish line. How he's gotten to this point, the genesis of it. If you haven't seen part 1, go back and watch that. That would be helpful. But we're going to pick up the conversation here. If this is your first time joining us and you haven't subscribed to the podcast, would you do so, please? Because that helps us with the algorithms, the bean counters, and quite frankly, it makes our sponsors really happy. About our sponsors, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course and you're tired of hard seltzers, you're tired of pretending they taste good because you know they don't taste good, just like a diet soda or yogurt. That stuff doesn't taste good. We all know that. Stop lying to yourself. Have the real thing. Party. Water Hazard. New flavors out, taking America by storm. If golf real estate is in your plans, no better time to buy than right now, especially around the greater Sarasota area. And no team better than the golf real estate pros of Gene Walsh, Samantha Walsh, and Vince Visicaro from suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area. They live at Lakewood National Golf Club. That's where this podcast originates from, and they know the land better than anybody. So look them up. Hit them up. You'll be glad you did. And if all that golf has got you tired, you go to BioLit Spa in downtown Sarasota and recharge and refresh. Get your Metro on, if you will. I don't know. So after like 99 rounds of golf on the top one, Jeff, welcome back to the program. Would a day at BioLit Spa in Sarasota be good for you? Or do you do that kind of stuff? Do you need them? Does all this golf, are you in need of a massage or a chance to unwind afterward? You tell me.
Well, so that's a funny story because 11 years ago, I actually had spinal fusion surgery and my back was a wreck. And my friends from Wellesley at the club were saying, Jeff, you never complained about your back. And I said, well, I'm on a golf course. So first and foremost, you shouldn't be complaining if you're on a golf course. If you're privileged enough to play, you should be thankful to play. And so my back got into a pretty rough state. And I actually met one of the best neurosurgeon who's the head of neck and spine at the New England Baptist. And I'll leave this private, but I'll say this, that I found out through friends of mine, 5 different people recommended me to see him and have the surgery done by him. And I found out that he was a member of the country club, and the country club to me is sacrosanct. And when I look at golf, I think of 3 golf clubs that had the most impact on golf in the history of the game. And one is St. Andrews, where I've been blessed to play there a couple of times. 2 is the Country Club in Brookline, and 3 is Augusta National. And the reason why I say that, it was St. Andrews obviously for founding the game, this great game of golf that we love. The Country Club in Brookline, because if it wasn't for Francis Ouimet in 1913 beating Harry Vardon and Ted Ray, and ushering golf into America, we don't know how the delay of golf would have taken place. And so a 20-year-old caddy, and I know that you're a caddy and I'm a former caddy. I caddied for 8 years. I met Mark Frost, who wrote the book, The Greatest Game, and The Match, by the way, the great match at Cyprus. And his message was, Francis Ouimet was a 20-year-old caddy who played at Woodland Country Club in a practice round where he was a member. He played at Wellesley Country Club, our club, Kevin, and he shot an 87. And then he went on to defeat the 2 greatest golfers of his time, the Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods, who had never lost a barnstorming match in 1913. They played the U.S. Open that year in the fall because the U.S. Open was in September. They barnstormed the United States of America, played at clubs all over, and were undefeated. and a 20-year-old kid with David and Goliath took him down. So I think that the country club has special connection to me. I've been fortunate to play there. It's reverent and it's timeless. And then you think about Augusta National, and Augusta brought golf to the world, in my opinion, more so than the Open. The whole foundation of Bobby Jones and Clifford Roberts and the brainchild that they had building that course in 1933 and the first Masters golf tournament in 1934, won by Horton Smith, was phenomenal. And so I think those three clubs really connected the game and brought it to the masses and made golf what it is today, which is terrific. And my connection, ironically, Kevin, I have a dear friend through business. I met him 26 years ago. Ironically, when the journey started, we were at a meeting and we started talking about golf. We played some golf. He said, Jeff, I'd love to have you play at my club. And I said, sure. Where do you play? He said, I'm a member of Peachtree. And I'm a novice at the point. I don't understand these golf courses yet. And I'm getting invitations to play Pine Valley and Peachtree and Cypress and all these courses. My friends are going, how are you getting these invitations to play these great courses? And I said, I'm not a great golfer. I have great friends and I'm very blessed. And the first time we went to Peachtree, it turns out my friend's grandfather and Bobby Jones were founding members of the club in 1947. We're having lunch in the men's grill, and there are 4 flags in the men's grill. And my friend quizzed me and said, what are these 4 flags, Jeff? And I said, well, those 4 flags are Interlaken, Royal Hoylake, St. Andrews, and Marion. Those are the 4 courses that Bobby Jones won the Grand Slam in 1930. He said, okay, you've passed your test. Those are the 4 courses that he passed. And so those were kind of the logos, Kevin, that got me into that spirit of the thing. But he said, I'm very impressed that you knew all these logos. I said, I know a lot of logos. And those are obviously special ones because Tiger had a Tiger Slam, but nobody's won the Grand Slam since Bobby Jones did it in 4 years. We're coming back to Marion, and they're going to have the 100th anniversary of the U.S. Open. And we'll see if that history can't be repeated.
So you had, we talked about this in the previous episode. You have a habit of just talking to people. You find it easy to do that if they have a particular logo that opens up the door. I'm sure it's never been poorly received. It's because they have a story about what's behind their logo. It could be their club or they visit it and a story. But your background, you're in sales, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How much has that helped you with this golf journey?
Wonderful. As I mentioned earlier, so many people in our business were golfers when I graduated. I did my undergraduate work at Ohio. I have an MBA from Boston College, and I noticed early on that a lot of people were into the game, and I felt, if I don't get into this game, like I said earlier, I was a basketball player through high school and college. If I don't get into this game, I'm going to be excluded from opportunities to meet and network with people. So part of it was athletic, competitive, get into the game because you find another sport. The last time I dunked a basketball, I was 32 years old, and you can't play basketball your whole life, but golf, you can play your whole life. And so I made it a point to say, I want to get into this game. I want to be able to connect with people. I grew up caddying. It's funny, over my right shoulder, that painting is from Scotland, and I've been to Scotland 8 times. A dear friend of mine from Edinburgh, Scotland.
Hold on. Stop for a sec. Go get that painting. Take a walk. People love the behind the scenes stuff.
Sure. All right.
Keep talking because you got the earbuds in. What do we got here? Bring it over to the camera.
Yes. So this painting is of a famous caddy in Scotland, and a friend of mine had given me this because he knows that I'm a fan of the game and I love the game. And so at my place in Boston, I have a seriograph of Leroy Neiman of Larry Bird because I was a massive Larry Bird fan. Bought a place in the North End so I can go see the Celtics play there in the 1980s when they were in their heyday. The first 41 Celtics games I went to, I saw them go 41-0. If you remember 1986, the Celtics were 50-1 at home. So I could walk 5 minutes, but as a former cat, I'm straighten this out. I'm OCD. It can't be crooked.
Yeah. I was going to tell you it was crooked.
Yeah, it's part of my being. I went to Scotland. And again, friends, when I turned 40 in 2001, I told a dear customer, on my 40th birthday, I am going to be on St. Andrews. That's my goal. I've never been to Scotland, but I'm going to be in Scotland on my 40th birthday. So I'm going to play St. Andrews. And she said, Jeff, when's your birthday? I said, well, it's in May. And he said, well, why don't you wait till September? Because my husband, Jim, and I, and two of our friends, we go to Scotland every year, and you can come with us. And so they have laid out this incredible itinerary. And we played Kingsbourne the first day. We played the old course the first day. We played the old course the second day. And I was so naive, Kevin. I didn't understand how this golf world worked. We're in the van going to St. Andrews Hotel. And the van driver said, so where are you playing tomorrow? I said, we're scheduled on the itinerary to play the new course. And I said, I didn't come all the way from the United States of America to play the new course. The van driver started laughing. He says, well, our new course is actually over 100 years, sir. He said, everything is old here. And so he said, but you're going to be playing the old course again. So I actually got to play the old course twice. We moved from there. We went to Nairn, and then we ended up going to Royal Dornoch. My friend at Pine Valley said, Jeff, you may change your rankings on the number one golf course because I played the British Senior Amateur. I played at Royal Dornoch, and you may change your rankings. And I called him and said, okay, Pine Valley 1A, Royal Dornoch 1B. And he laughed. He said, that's a good way of saying it. We ended up playing Old Moray. And when we were at Old Moray, there was a bunch of Air Force jets taking off over this airfield. And we couldn't understand why. Well, we drove back from that location. My friend is at the convenience store filling up the gas in his car. And he said, Jeff, you're not going to believe this. He said, I'm inside filling up the gas for a rental car going back to the airport, and they just blew up the World Trade Center. I said, what? I said, yeah. I said, they tried to blow it up in 1993. He said, that's crazy. He said, no, listen, they took down the World Trade Centers. So we were actually stranded in Scotland during 9/11, and we flew to London the next day, and then we were stranded. We couldn't get back to the United States. Remarkable to experience that was the first time going to Scotland, and we met friends. And the connection to your earlier question is that I met people along the way and build bridges, and it's worked where I've gotten invitations to play. So that's been the greatest part of the joyful part of this experience. I'm at our club at Wellesley Country Club, and my son was 10 years old at the time. We're playing. I happened to be playing on a Friday afternoon, and a young kid, 19 years old, came up to me and said, hey, Mr. Metzgar, I just want to let you know your son was our camper at Babson College across the street. He was our favorite camper. And he said, we enjoyed having him. And what this camp did, Julian Kransky Golf School at Babson College, brought in single-digit handicap golfers to teach 10-year-old kids. And I laughed at this. I said, you could have brought any golfer to teach these kids. My son doesn't know how to play golf. And the kid said, well, I would love to have you at my club if you ever get to Scotland. I said, well, last year I was in Scotland. I was stuck there during 9/11. He said, well, if you ever come back, I'd love to host you. I said, well, where are you a member? And he said, I'm a member of Carnoustie. And I laughed. I said, is your father a member? He said, no, my dad's a member of Panmure, but I'm a member of Carnoustie. I'd love to have you. So I made a journey with a friend. We played Carnoustie. We hit it off. We started a golf society called the Society of Boston Edinburgh Golfers. We have friends from Boston. We have friends from Edinburgh. We play Ryder Cup matches every other year. And it's been wonderful. So those experiences and the travels that you're saying, you meet with people, you connect with people, and very fortunate to get invitations to play different places around the world. And Kevin, I think one anecdote is a great one. I was playing golf at Pebble Beach, and a guy walked by me, and he's wearing an old head quarter zip. This is a total stranger, by the way. And he walks by me. I said, old head. He stops and he spins, and he said, how do you know old head? I said, I've played it. He said, what'd you think? I said, the weather was so bad I can't remember any hole because it drove everybody off the golf course except for me and my caddy because it was so bad. And I told the caddy, all golf balls are left in this bag are yours. So at the end of the round, he's standing 100 yards ahead of me to just give me line of sight because the fog was so thick, you couldn't see anything. And I hear Old Head is a beautiful course. I couldn't verify that because the weather was so bad. And I have 3 sleeves of golf balls left after I'm done with my round. I give them to Seamus, 15-year-old kid. I said, Seamus, these are for you. He said, Mr. Metzger, my dad told me if I find any golf balls on this golf course that are Pro V1s, I have to give them to him. I said, well, you could tell your dad you didn't find them. These are a gift because you stayed on this golf course with me. And so I told the story to this guy at Pebble Beach, and I said, "Where are you from, by the way?" And he said, "Why are you asking?" I said, "Well, you sound like you're either from Australia or from New Zealand, and I can't tell the difference in your accent." And he said, "I'm from New Zealand." And I said, "Well, one of my biggest regrets was going to Australia and not playing Royal Melbourne. And it's been a bother to me for years." And he said, "Well, I live in New Zealand. I've known you now for 5 minutes. You identified my golf logo. If you ever want to come to New Zealand, I will get you on 10 of the top golf courses in New Zealand." And I said, "Well, you're inviting the right guy, because I'm going to accept. I'm going to pay for my round when I go over there." So a couple of years ago, we went over. I hadn't had a 2-week vacation for work in 35 years. I spent 15 days there. We played 10 of the top golf courses in New Zealand, including Te Iti, Te Ara North, Te Ara South, Tauranga, Royal Auckland, Cape Kidnappers, Curry Cliffs. It was just amazing. And somebody said, "You went to New Zealand by yourself to meet a guy you met on a golf course." I said, "Yeah, we bonded in 5 minutes and stayed at his house." Turns out he was connected, didn't know it. We flew by helicopter to some of these courses. And I joked with these guys when his friend picked us up with the helicopter. We drove to Te Ara North and South to play. And they pick up in a helicopter. We pick up his friend at his house in a helicopter. And I said, "Yeah, I do. This happens to me all the time." I said, I grew up on the other side of the tracks. I caddied. My friend who gave me this plaque, she was a member of the club that I couldn't get onto when I was a kid. And so I caddied at that club. And so it was kind of funny. I'm playing golf in New Zealand, flying by helicopter, some of these courses, some of the most wonderful courses in the world. And it's all because I saw a guy's logo at a golf course and called him out. And that's how it works.
Only in golf does this happen, because the trust factor, you fly across the globe to stay with a guy you knew for 5 minutes. He invites you into his house and into his inner sanctum. That doesn't happen in other sports, but because there's a certain level of manners and decorum and trust that comes with golf. Yeah. I mean, it's a fascinating story, but I can see it happening because that's how golf is. Golf takes care of everybody. Jeff Metzgar is our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story. He is on a journey to play 100 of the top courses in America, and he's at 99. I didn't know you were caddy. When did you start, and what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, wonderful experience. I'm so glad I did this. I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and the premier golf course in Erie is called the Cockle Club. And the Cockle Club has hosted the Women's U.S. Open. Joanne Carner won it in 1972. A dear friend of mine, the oldest of 10 children, a big family, obviously, in Erie. He caddied for Joanne Carter. And he was a good golfer, the whole family. His mother was a 7-time Erie Club champ. So that was a great opportunity to not only learn the game, but also to get paid. And I have more frequent flyer miles with my right thumb, because we didn't drive there. We had to hitchhike there back when hitchhiking was still somewhat sane. And the members would pick you up. And I was a young teen, and I'm 6'2" now. And so I grew late in life, but I took my driver's test. I was just over 5'2", and I was the smallest kid on my team, but I was the smallest caddy. And I can remember the caddy master, Tim Lassinger, like this was yesterday, because he would pick out caddies who he wanted, and he would just point to people and say, "Okay, you get this loop." So my brother, who was a year older than me, and my best friend, who's the same age as me, were bigger, taller, stronger, and I'm the runt of the litter here, and I'm literally the last kid picked. And just to date myself on this, the going rate for caddies, Kevin, was $5 a bag. And so I'm the last kid and this was a big caddy program. I'm talking 30, 40 kids at the caddy program, and I'm dead last. So my brother and my friend John are coming up the 9th hole with their loop. And the caddy master assigns me to this guy. His name was John Nagel. And my memory for some of these things flashed back. And he said, he points to me, you have Mr. Nagel's bag. And he looked like a Marine. He had a buzz haircut. He had his wet towel because it was so steaming hot in Erie that day. And he goes, you have his bag. And if you remember, Kevin, the bags aren't the same as they are now with the kickstand light bags.
Oh, heck no. Yeah, they're the old hot seas. They're heavy leather piano wires. Awful.
Yeah, they're cut into you. I mean, I weighed 90 pounds when I was 14 years old. And so the bag probably weighed 25 to 30. You said that you were the worst cat. The reason why I didn't put you in the top list, and I said you were in the top 5, because I was worse than you were. And so I go out there and the bag is obviously big. I said, I knew, keep up, shut up, and stay up and just do your thing. And so I start trailing, and so Mr. Nagel says, okay, Jeff, I want you to give me my putter and give me the driver. I want you to take the bag and go to the parallel fairway. You come up the next hole. I'll meet you on the drive to save the time. And so I'm getting the hang of it. And then he asked me, we're close to a green. He wants his 9-iron to take a pitch shot. I hand him his club. He looks, he says, Jeff, this is not the 9. This is a 6-iron. And so I kid you not, I was awful. So then I started lagging because the bag was so heavy. He takes the bag and starts carrying it. And I go, oh my God, my brother and my friend are done 2 hours earlier. I am not going to get paid. I'm so bad. And I finished the round. He comes up to me, shakes my hand and said, Jeff, you did such a great job. Thank you for the great work today. He puts a bill in my hand. I don't know what it is. I look down. It's a $10 bill. Every other caddy that day made $5 for the single loop. And this terrible caddy gets 10, and I was hooked. I go,
yes.
You can make money and you can have a great time and meet great people. And I learned early in golf that these golfers were wonderful people. The next person I caddied, she was a city champ. I caddied for my friend's mother, who was a 7-time city champ. And then I got to be friends with in the ladies' day. And this woman would come to my house, drive me to the course because I didn't have a car. I couldn't drive yet. And instead of hitchhiking, and so this was wonderful opportunity. Then the caddy scholarships back there. I didn't caddy through high school because of basketball, but we had the Evans Scholarship in Pennsylvania. I had 3 cousins. My cousin had three children. They all got full rides to Penn State because the Evans Scholarship, like the WeMet Scholarship, are big. And it's been a wonderful introduction to golf. And the caddying was wonderful. And I have a great line when I have caddies. And I know not to be that bad guy because I've had guys I've caddied for that were terrible. I mean, you know, you meet all kinds of people in this world. You meet great people, you meet bad people. And so when I finish a round of golf, I always say to my caddy, I said, there's nothing better than walking a great golf course with a bad caddy. I mean, I'm sorry, there's nothing worse than walking a great golf course with a bad caddy. There's nothing better than walking a great golf course with a great caddy, and you are a great caddy. And to see the kids light up when you say that, but I say that with all respect, because if they're not a good caddy, I don't make the speech, because if they're not good, I don't call them out. I just know they're not good. But when you have a great caddy, it changed your game, it changed your day. It helps the golf game, wonderful experience. And my best caddy that I've ever had in my memory was at Cypress Point. The first time I ever played Cypress Point, he was so good. He was dialed in. And as I said earlier, I'm not a great golfer, but the first time I played Cypress Point, I parred 15, 16, 17, and 18.
Holy moly. What a finish.
I could play that course 1,000 times and not do that again. But we get to the 17th hole after I just missed a birdie on 16. I said, if I made the birdie on 16, I'm dropping the clubs and I'm retiring, because that would have been a mic drop. We get to the 17th hole, and I'm not sure if you know Cypress Point, but there's a cypress tree in the middle of the fairway on the 17th hole. And the caddy said, Jeff, take your 3-wood, hit it right of the cypress tree. And I said, why do I want to hit it right of the cypress tree? I'm going to bring in the Pacific Ocean. He goes, the way you're hitting it, you're good. He said, you'll have an 8-iron in. I hit it, 8-iron in. I hit a bump wedge to a foot, made my par. And I said, this is going. We go to the 18th hole, which is infamous for golfers out there. The 18th hole at Cypress Point is a 90-degree dogleg right. It's kind of a quirky hole in some people's estimation. And the caddy said, take your 5-iron, 185 yards, just hit it down the fairway. I said, I'm going over the cypress trees. I'm cutting off the corner because I'll have a wedge in. He says, you're going to hit the cypress trees if you do this. I said, I'm going to overrule you once. I know as a former caddy that I make the final decision. I want the 5-wood. He said, all right, your funeral. I hit the ball into the cypress trees. I had to punch out, hit a shot to the green. I make this crazy 25-foot bending right to left putt for par, and I'm running around the green at Cypress Point like I won the Masters. And then Cypress Point is pretty famous. If you're not a guest of a member of Cypress Point, you're on the unaccompanied list. We call it the leper list, and so we're on the leper list because you tee off at 8:00 in the morning, and then when you're done, he took my bag, put it in the car, and said, "We'll see you later."
Yeah.
I said, "What?" I said, "You're done for the day." And I looked at my friend. I said, "I always take a shower when I'm done golfing, going into the locker room." He said,
"Not there, you don't."
Right,
not there.
You're not allowed to use the locker room. So I said, "I'm going in anyhow." So we go in and we see these titans of corporate America in this locker room. And I see Jack Welch's locker, and he's all these CEOs. And my friend who was staying at the Pebble Beach Inn and Lodge, I'm staying at some Marriott on points, right? Because I'm not that guy. And so I said, "I got to take a shower." He said, "You're kidding me." So I start to undress. I'm walking with the towel to the shower. Out of the blue is a security guard. He wasn't there when we got there, but he materialized. And I'm walking in the shower, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I quickly thought on my feet. I said, "I'm taking a shower. Do you want to watch?" And the guy was so flummoxed. He said, "Well, make it quick." And I looked at my friend. I said, "This could be the longest shower I will ever take in my life because I am not." So I took my shower. Then I left Cypress Point. But Cypress is Alistair McKenzie gem. There's 5 Alistair McKenzie courses on my top 100. There's obviously Cypress Point, but Augusta #1, Cypress Point, Crystal Downs in Michigan, the Valley Club of Montecito, and Pasatiempo, where Alistair McKenzie actually had a home and died there. So yeah, fabulous.
A shower at Cypress Point. You got to be the only unaccompanied guest that's ever done it. The ball's on you. The ball's on you.
Yeah, Kevin, when I realized it, and I realized the taboo that I made, because I always take a shower when I play golf. And this guy, I don't know where he came from, but my friends still tell the story. This is 20 years ago. It was 21 years ago. Yeah, Jeff Metzgar played golf at Cypress Point and actually took a shower. So yeah, it happened.
That's almost as good as Mickey Mantle going through the buffet line. I think Preston Trail's naked, and because it's an all male club, and you could do whatever. And they just said, "Okay, no more of that."
I must have not burned too many bridges because I got another invitation to play. So I was fortunate to play there twice, and they
probably respected it that you pushed the envelope. That's good stuff. Yeah. Hey, wrapping up here, Jeff. Just in the end, when you get to 100, what's that going to be like?
Yeah, almost anticlimactic, right? I mean, this journey's been going on so long. It's been wonderful. People said, "Jeff, you should write a book from the people you met, the stories that were told, the camaraderie that you have." I've saved all my scorecards from the top 100. So once number 100 is finished, there's going to be a big picture frame with all of the scorecards, and the most recent ones that I've played, because some of them I've been fortunate to play more than once, and that'll be the frame at home in the man cave that this was maybe not a lifelong journey, but an adult lifelong journey. And what a wonderful sport this is. What a great, I'm thankful for the opportunity, because I know I'm privileged to play it. At the same time, I worked hard to do it. But I've met people from all over the world. The last thing I'll say, you find people that know that you're doing this. I've met people from around the world that have come to Boston to play. We've connected and extended the invitations to play around the world. And that's probably been the blessing of all of it. So I think it'll be a little melancholy because you found the journey is ending. You crossed the finish line, and then maybe next will be the top 100 on the world list. But that's the next chapter.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, just find another challenge to do. Listen, don't be a stranger. Come down to Florida. I'll caddy for you down here, just like I did at Wellesley. Put you on the same bad reads and miss clubs, and we'll have a whale of a time. Just be like Absolutely. The good old days.
Absolutely, Kevin. Yeah,
worked for you.
Yeah, it works for me. And for all the listeners out there, I'll say this: Kevin's a damn good caddy. He's highly respected at the club, and it's knowledgeable and good and fun. And you can see the camaraderie. He just connects with the members and connects with everybody, and that's the beauty. It's a great relationship being a caddy and being a player, being both, it's been wonderful. So Kevin, yeah, I put you at the top of that list. So
you're so nice. You're so nice. Well, a big part of being a caddy is you got to have self-deprecating humor and you can't take yourself too seriously. You know that, I know that. And then it exudes. Jeff Metzgar has been our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. If golf real estate is in your plans in the future, no better time to buy than right now, and nobody better than the golf real estate pros at suncoastdreams.com. Vince Vizzacaro, Gene Walsh, and Samantha Walsh, based at Lakewood National Golf Club. They got you covered. And if you're tired of all that golf and you need a chance to unwind, then go to BioLit Spa in downtown Sarasota. For Jeff Metzger, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf Story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.